Welcome to my channel. Today we are I'm gonna take the shade Supersonic. This shade is super interesting. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Morphe 24M Main Event palette. This is a little bit of an older palette. I did pick this up when I got my last Morphe palette, the holiday palette, and I really liked the way this palette looked in person, so I picked it up and I decided to give it a little bit of a review for you guys. This palette is $29. It's currently on sale as of today for $21, and then I got an extra 10% off using a code for this palette. But this is kind of a different palette. There are a lot of glitter shades in here. There's 4 glitter shades in this palette, and the whole bottom row you can use wet with a brush. So before we get into the swatches of this palette, the swatches were a little bit sloppy, and the whole bottom row of this palette is a little bit drier than the other shadows in this palette. I think it is because it does suggest for you to use it with a wet brush. So the swatches for these look a little strange, but I'm going to show you guys the swatches of all of the shades. I'm not going to go through all the names of it, but there are some like cool tone shades, warmer tone shades, the glitters. There's some really pretty green shades in here, and as you can see, it was a little bit sloppy, and these bottom shades are a little bit patchy in the swatches. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you guys was this part of the palette is kind of messed up right there. I don't know how hard it is to see that, but it is a little bit messed up. I was experimenting a little bit with how to wet the shadow, and because this is cardboard, it really did soak up the water. The green shade, I use a wet brush and then tried to pick it up, and then with this one I kind of experimented with putting a drop of water in there, and it like just completely soaked it up into the palette. So we'll have to try these shades out on my eyes as like an eyeliner. I'm really excited for these green shades. There's like chartreusey colors. But you guys let me know, did you pick up this palette? Are you interested in this palette? I'm gonna see how this goes because I don't really know if I'm gonna like it or not. But I'm very excited for these green shades. So I'm gonna prime my eyes with the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow primer. Zoom you guys in and we'll get into this eyeshadow look. All right, getting into this palette, I'm gonna start off with Tippy, this lighter chartreuse kind of a green color, because this is my favorite, and I really want to focus this eyeshadow for the whole look of having chartreuse green, because that is one of my favorite colors, and I am living for chartreuse green. I even colored my hair chartreuse green, so I love it. And I've been on a good streak with Morphe palettes for a while, so I'm hoping this goes pretty good. I did order the It's Bats palette. It's Freaking Bats palette. That was a collab with Beauty Bean. So far, I actually really do love this shade. I am obsessed with this shade. I could literally just put it all over my eyes and call it a day. I'm gonna run it underneath my lower lash line. A while ago, I feel like chartreuse green was such a hard color to come by in an eyeshadow palette, and I feel like lately it's been all over the place. Now I'm gonna go in with the shade Green Fields, and I'm gonna deepen up this look a little bit. I kind of want it to be a little grungy. And then just going back in with that chartreuse shade and blending everything out. I'm gonna take the shade Supersonic. This shade is super interesting. I'm gonna start off just with a dry brush and see. Oh yeah, dry brush is looking good. Being kind of messy. Kind of making this a little bit more grungy. Not really focusing on being too precise. And then just taking a little brush and running it over the edges to soften everything up. And then I'm gonna take Legends, this gold glitter shade. I'm gonna take it with my finger and I'm just gonna put it right on this outer part of my eye and kind of put it, fading it a little into this outer corner here. So basically just focusing the pigment in this outer corner, and then whatever left I have on my finger, just putting it on the outer like swoop part. And then I'm gonna take the shade Free Spirit, a light shimmer shade. Just gonna take a little bit of this and highlight my brow bone. And then I'm gonna take the shade Secret Gig, which is kind of like a cool toned taupey shade. And I'm gonna run this along my lower lash line, keeping it pretty tight up against where my lashes are. And then I'm gonna take this purple shade called Pyramid, and I'm gonna highlight my inner corner with this. So far, these shades are performing pretty well. I'm actually kind of surprised. With swatching them, they kind of seemed a little jumbled, but now that I've done an eye look, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. It's working out. I'm gonna go back in with Free Spirit and a fluffy eyeshadow brush. I'm just gonna blend the edges of the purple with Free Spirit and get a more blended look going. And then I'm gonna take the Fenty Beauty Fly pencil in the shade Moon Dunes, which is kind of like a shimmery gray, and I'm gonna put this in my waterline. Okay, I think that tied in the lid color a lot better. All right, and since I have you guys still zoomed in, I'm gonna try out these headliners, I guess is what they call them. These shades on the bottom that you're supposed to get wet. I'm just gonna try the black shade, and I'm gonna dip my brush in the water because I feel like that kind of helped a little bit more how well this is going to work. And I'll put this right along my lash line. Okay, it worked a lot better this way. It's still not pigmented like an eyeliner would, but I probably would have preferred to have these shades as regular eyeshadows because they are pretty dry compared to the other matte shades in the palette. Yeah, I just don't realistically see myself doing this. I'd much rather grab like a regular pencil liner or a liquid eyeliner to line my upper lash line. I mean, it's good for if you want to do like line work with these certain shades, but I mean, as you guys can probably see, the glitter and the shimmer shade are kind of peeking through the eyeliner, so I don't really know how I would realistically use this on like a daily basis, but I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup with my blush, highlighter, lipstick, mascara, everything, and then I'll come back and tell you guys my opinions on this Morphe palette. All right, and this is the completed look. I love this color combination with the gray and the purple and the chartreuse green. And then for my lipstick, I use the Fenty Beauty Mademoiselle lipstick in I Quit. And for my highlighter, I use the Kaleidos highlighter in Solar Sailor. This is my first time using it, and it's bomb. For this palette, I do like the palette. The glitter went on a lot better than I thought. I'm not really a big glitter person, but I do like the formula of the glitter that I tried. It didn't really fall out, it stays put. The matte shades that I used blended really well, built up really well. There wasn't a lot of like fallout or anything crazy like that. So formula wise, I think this is really good. I love the more deep with little pops of colors in this palette. Like we have a whole cool toned neutral kind of a row, and then this row has like the pops of pink and orange, and then we have, you know, the greens and the yellows and golds and silvers. So I really like the layout of this palette with a more like grungy look to it. Really good for fall. The bottom shades, I don't really know how I'm gonna incorporate them into looks. I'll have to experiment with them a little bit more. The black did work pretty well. I am a little paranoid that they are gonna seal over because this black shade kind of looks like it could seal over, as well as the green shade. I was using the green shade when I was experimenting, and also the palette kind of got raised from me putting water in it, but lesson learned. So yeah, for pretty much, I don't even know how much this palette was, but you know, for pretty much 20 bucks, I think this is a pretty good palette, and I'm gonna get some good use out of it because I love these shades, cool tones, fall shades, definitely up my alley right now. Let me know if you guys picked up this palette or if you're eyeballing this palette, but that is it for this video. If you guys want a video on the Morphe holiday palette, I'll have that video right over here for you guys. This video will be suggested to you by YouTube, and my face will be right here. Click on it and subscribe to my channel.